Good morning. Today we are correcting CO14, locating the fractions on a number line. So we started some of these together when we did our objective yesterday. I'm going to go over them again. 7/8 is closest to 1 because it's closest to 8/8. Not 4/40 is closest to 0 because that's 0. That should say 0/40. 11/18 is closest to a half, which would have been 9/18. 2/5 is closest to a half. It's closest to the 2.5 over 5. 14/25 is closest to a half. 3/16 is closest to 0. 18/21 is closest to the 1. 31/40 is closest to the 1. 79 thousandths is closest to 0. Any questions on how I got those? Because remember, we were supposed to explain how you know. So you're going to show that what that 0, what that half, what that whole would look like, and show that it is close to it. All right, on the bottom, we did this in class together, putting them on the number line. 2/11 is close to 0. 8/18 is just short of a half, because a half would have been 9/18. But 28/50 is just more than a half. So we have to make sure we're putting it in the correct place on the number line. 8/9 is almost 1 whole. So now we did some of our table together. Your numbers that you put in might not be the exact same as mine, but it should be showing something similar. For the 32 as a numerator, we wanted a really, really big denominator. So we know that it is closer to 0 than it is to halfway. For 32, we wanted to be about half. So we didn't want it to be exact. We don't want to equal it, but we wanted to be close. And for the 1 whole, we wanted it to be close. So I did the 1,000, 60, and 35, so we were close. You worked on your own. I kept my denominator as 1,000. So 10 out of 1,000 would be close to 0, as long as yours was big. Then the halfway mark, we know 10 doubled would be 20, but we didn't want to put 20 so it's equal. So I put 10 over 21, because that's close to halfway. And then for a whole, I put 10 over 11, because that is almost 1 whole. Does anybody have ones that you want to check on and you want to make sure that you did it correctly? Callie?
For the 1 whole, 10 over 11 is 5 over 10 over 12.
Yes, 10 over 12 is close. It's closer to that whole than it is to the halfway mark. All right, denominator being 25. We talked about doing 2 25ths would be close to 0. 12 25ths would be close to half. And 24 25ths is close to 1 whole. So that's what we did together in class. Now, we had to work on the bottom by ourselves. I did 5 hundredths for close to 0, 51 hundredths for close to half, and 99 hundredths for close to 1 whole. Any ones that you're looking at going, ooh, I got a way different number? Does my number work? We're doing okay with it? We're confident with our numbers that we're doing it correctly? Okay. Now we have our review. So, 2 equivalent fractions. I multiplied by 2 and got 18 20ths. Then I multiplied it by 3 and I got 27 30ths. Are those the only correct answers? No. You just have to have the same scale factor that you're using for the numerator and the denominator. Is there anybody who wants to check to see if they have equivalent fractions? As long as you have the same scale factor that you're multiplying numerator and denominator by, it should be equivalent. For 15/6, I multiplied by 2 and got 30 12ths. I multiplied by 3 and got 45/18. We could have divided by 3 and gotten 5/2. Anybody want to have any questions on the equivalent fractions they did? Remember, when it comes time for our next test, this is going to be on it, so we want to make sure we understand. Now we're writing in simplest form, so we have to go down as small as we can get. 20/36 becomes 5/9. I could divide that 4 out. 18/15 divide by 3 becomes 6/5. And 21/28, if we divide by 7, we get 3/4. Any questions on our simplest form? Now we're converting improper fractions to a mixed number. 12/5 becomes 2 2/5. 28/3 becomes 9 1/3. 3 4/7 becomes 25/7. Any questions on those three? All right. Now using that number line, working with those negative numbers. 9 minus 11 gets me to -2. -3 plus 8 gets me to 5. Multiplying -3 times -11 gets me a +33. And dividing 20 divided by -4 gets me a -5. Any questions on working with those negative numbers? All right, on the bottom, rounding to the nearest tenth. The tenth is that first decimal place. After it is a 9, so I know I want to round up, so I get 0.6. And then rounding to the thousands, that thousands place is right after our comma. It's followed by a 7, so I know I need to round up, and I get 6,000. Any questions on our rounding? All right, if you are watching this at home, we hope you are well, and we hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day.